Namaste, Dr. Sharma. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
In India, I have been in the Shiva temples, and I recently read that the Shivalinga is a phallic symbol. What do you think about that? What should I make of it?
Well, Vanessa, you can make of it whatever you want. And you will probably say that this is what you always tell me about Hinduism. But to a certain extent, it is true. There may have been people in India who in the past looked upon it like that. And there are some passages in the scriptures which support this. But by and large, the Hindus do not look upon the Shivalinga in phallic terms. In fact, Mahatma Gandhi has a very interesting statement on this. He says that it was in a book by a Christian missionary that I read for the first time that the Shivalinga has any phallic significance.
I'm agree with you. None of the Hindus I met thought of it in that way. But the book I read said that one of the earliest representations of the Shivalinga is anatomically phallic.
Well, I'll answer your question at two levels. I will assume that the statement in the book is correct. And then I will question it. And you will see the significance of my questioning it later. If we accept that yes, the earliest representations of the Shivalinga are phallic, then the question arises, why are they not so any longer? Why has the linga been rounded off? And this tells us something about Hinduism. In our earlier discussions, we discussed how Hinduism is very accommodating of the beliefs and practices of all the people who choose to belong to the Hindu community. And as we also discussed earlier, this openness has certain risks, certain practices which we might not consider desirable or properly religious will also enter the sphere of Hinduism. What does Hinduism do then? How does it deal with it? And the present point is a very good illustration of this. It takes any manifestation of religiosity, howsoever crude, in terms of our more refined judgment, and tries to sublimate it. So what may have started as a phallus ultimately becomes a pillar of light in the Hindu imagination, dropping its phallic association and becoming charged with a spiritual potency. I use the word potency deliberately, right? Which we would not suspect or associate with its original version. But I'm not sure that we could regard this representation. I presume that you are referring to a very well-known representation which is placed in the 2nd century BC. I think it's known as the Gudi Mallam Linga. Because evidence of the worship of something like the Ling has even been traced by many scholars to the Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization. So I tried to answer your question at both the levels, assuming that the author's remark was correct. how we would respond to it from a Hindu point of view. But then pointing out that it could not be as unambiguous as it appears. The statement may not be as solid a statement of fact as we might wish.
Yes, I see what you say. But how do Hindus look upon the Shivalinga?
We get several accounts in the Hindu texts. The very general, it is supposed to represent the cosmic pillar which upholds the universe. At the very particular level, it is a pillar of fire or light. One of the most popular stories which explain the origin of this symbol of Shiva is a contest between the three gods of the Hindu Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, about who is the greatest. And at some point in that debate, Shiva manifests himself as this pillar of light and deputes the other gods to find its highest point or its lowest point. And the gods cannot find it. And the Shivalinga represents that pillar of light which establishes Shiva's supremacy as a great god.